Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be continuing with Ikigai for Teens, the second chapter. Discovering your Ikigai is an Ikigai in itself. Accept your feelings, know your purpose, and do what needs to be done. Shoma Morita, psychiatrist, founder of Morita Psychotherapy. Throughout your life, you will reach places where many roads meet, and you'll need to choose which one to take. Sometimes you may be confused by the choices, and you might not see the signs for each path, including the one you are on. You may feel like you're walking through fog. You won't know where you're going because you are not sure where you are. Don't worry if you feel this way sometimes. Making choices is part of life, and there are times when you'll find it hard to make a choice, or when you may not be ready to make a decision. Before you choose one path, you may want to explore all or some of the paths you see. By the time they found out what they wanted to do with their lives, the authors of this book themselves had all sorts of difficulties, crossed many intersections, and changed their plans a bunch of times before sitting down to write this book. Here are their stories. Hector and Francesc in the Maze. When he was a young boy in the 1980s, Hector enjoyed reading science fiction novels and dreamed of creating a better future for humanity. He drew things from his imagination in his notebooks. Often he drew a smartwatch with a built-in computer. At that time it was just something he had imagined. On his 13th birthday, he got his first video game console. He enjoyed playing Super Mario World so much that he decided he wanted to be a video game programmer one day. For many years he chased that dream. With the help of books, he taught himself how to program computers and created several video game prototypes. At 18, he went to college to study information technology. By the time he graduated, though he chose a different path and accepted a research scholarship in CERN, European Organization for Nuclear Research, in Switzerland. After that, he continued to do research in a laboratory in Japan. After a few years at the lab, though Hector realized it wasn't something he wanted to devote the rest of his life to, at age 25, Hector returned to his first Ikigai, working in the video game industry. He shut himself away over several weekends and created a game with Nintendo characters for up to 4 players. He went to a job interview in Nintendo's Tokyo offices and showed them his prototype game. Nintendo liked it so much they asked Hector back for a second interview. Everything seemed to be going well until the final interview. A few days later, he got a rejection letter. Over the few following years, he was a programmer, a software engineer, a team leader, and even the head of technology at several startups. But all of them went out of business, except for one. Hector was the first Twitter programmer in Japan. In 2007, he created the first international version of Twitter when this social network was still an unknown startup. Eventually, Hector decided to write every day about what he was learning from Japanese culture. At 27, he published his first book, A Geek in Japan. Could writing be his new Ikigai? The book sold well, but he wasn't convinced of his writing abilities. He continued writing until he got a sickness which made him very tired. For years, he didn't have the energy to do much except to go to work to make a living. He gave up writing. Then one day, a traveler with the mysterious nickname Sherpa turned up in Tokyo and arranged to have dinner with Hector. Sherpa and Hector had a great time together and became friends. Each time Sherpa traveled to Tokyo, they met up to go for a walk and eat some Japanese delicacies. Sherpa was the writer Francis Miralles. On a stroll around Japanese island housing a large colony of cats, Francis says to Hector, "You're very good at taking weird information and summarizing everything you learn." It was the first time in his life someone had said anything like that to Hector. From that moment on, Hector began to believe that maybe writing could become his Ikigai. Sometimes people need someone in their life to confirm to them that they are on the right path. On another of their walks, they decided to write a book together called Ikigai. To date, they have written 5 books together, published in 56 different languages everywhere, and sold almost 2 million copies worldwide. Hector's life plan is to continue writing more and more without worrying too much about where this path will lead him. He knows that writing is part of his Ikigai. As for Francis, he grew up wanting to be an astronaut and travel to the moon someday. However, that requires studying engineering, maths, and science, which didn't appeal to him. This is why instead Francis started a college with a major in psychology. At the last minute, he was admitted to his school's journalism program and decided that was the right path for him. But after only 3 months, he realized he wasn't interested in what he was studying and dropped out of college. He got a job in downtown Barcelona at a cafe that was popular with artists. There he learned to play the piano. The next year, Francis began a degree in English philology, which is the study of the history of language. 3 years later, he grew bored with English and switched to German. Although he loved what he was studying, he decided to take a year off before finishing his degree to work as a volunteer in a refugee camp during the Balkan Wars of the 1990s in southern Eastern Europe. After getting his degree, 10 years after having started college, Francis' life kept on changing. He worked as a language teacher, a translator, an editor, and a psychology journalist. The combination of 2 degrees that he didn't complete until one day he decided to write his first book. Often he had the feeling he didn't know where his life was headed. One day a friend said to him, "Francis, for you, stability comes from change. Life is not a one-way road." By telling you about their lives, the authors want you to realize that it is okay if you are the kind of person who needs to try many things before discovering your Ikigai. Some people are practically born with their life mission, like Lang Lang and the piano. But most people are going to have to pedal a lot and get lost among some paths until they find the right one that is right for them. And maybe that road won't be the right path forever. Life is not a one-way road. When you do find your Ikigai after a few years, you may feel as though you have learned as much as you can or gotten as much as enjoyment as you can from it. Then you may want to search for a new Ikigai. You may have several Ikigais throughout your life, or sometimes none at all. You may feel you are wandering in the wilderness. There may be times when you grow tired of pedaling without a direction. Get off your bike and say to yourself, "I don't have any idea where I'm going," or "I don't even know where I want to go." What should you do then? To answer that question, read on to learn about a 20th century Austrian physician who devoted his life to something fascinating. Dr. Frankl has the answer. In the 1940s, during the World War II, Viktor Frankl, a neurologist and psychiatrist, survived imprisonment in several concentration camps. He said he believed if he survived because he had a why to live. After living through the Holocaust, he wrote a book, Man's Search for Meaning. In it, he told about his terrible experiences during the war and introduced logotherapy. Logotherapy is a concept based on the theory that the most important motivation for people is the search for meaning in their life. When World War II was over, many people sought Frankl's help. They had lost a child, a sibling, or their parents. Some had almost lost all their family. Frankl's mission was to help these grief-stricken people find something new to be enthusiastic about that would give meaning to their life. When patients explained to Frankl how horrible their lives were, he challenged them with the question, "So, why do you want to continue living?" After getting over their surprise at this question, almost all of them ended up giving some kind of answer such as, "I need to see my daughter finish her college degree. I'm hoping to learn to play the piano. It's a dream I've had since I was a child. I still haven't lost hope of falling in love again." However, some patients were so lost they couldn't come up with anything and told him, "I have no idea what I like. I don't think I have a mission in life." If you have no mission in life, Frankel answered, I'll give you one, to find it. From this moment on, your mission will be to discover what your purpose in life is. Maybe you'll find that finding your purpose in life is a tough task. If you don't know where to start, keep reading. Thank you so much for continuing reading with us. This was just the second one. How our Ikigai can also be the search for it. Now, if you want to listen to the next part, do stay tuned. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends, and also comment down below #Ikigai so that I will know that all of you are reading this and are very interested. Thank you so much. This is Pari signing off.